two.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Nusac's first ever online AGM. Please bear with us if this doesn't work perfectly smoothly, as I'm sure you're all aware that technical issues might plague us, but fingers crossed it will work okay. I'm going to quickly run through the format of how things are going to work. We're going to start off with my President's report, followed by Luke's Treasurer's report straight afterwards. We'll go over the candidates and the election format, and then each of the candidates for the new committee positions will have 1 or 2 minutes to do a little spiel to you all about why they would like to be on committee, whether they have any plans for committee, and then all the normal stuff you're expecting. Once everyone has finished on their little speeches, I will unlock the voting form, which you should all have the links to on Google Drive. We will post it on the stream chat as well when it gets to the time where it will be unlocked, so you can all access it from there if you don't have the link handy. And then once we've done that, we'll have a little bit on the quiz and before finishing the stream off, and all the election results will be announced as soon as I have finished counting them after we've closed it. You'll have about half an hour to put your votes in for the different committee positions, and then half hour after, as soon as I've counted them after that half hour has closed, we will put the results out in an email out on Facebook on both the page and the group. And so you should all see them through that without too many difficulties. So to begin with, we've had 100 members this year, over 100 members this year. The number ticked over not too long before we all went into lockdown. Of those, we had 24 ocean diver trainees, 14 sports diver trainees, who are all at various stages throughout. We have had some people qualify before we all got locked indoors. We've also had 3 new OWIs qualify and 2 new assistant instructors. Went on a few trips before everything locked down. St Abs, traditionally, there was absolutely no diving in the sea whatsoever. And we stopped off in a muddy puddle on the way home, which we found out was just like every other muddy puddle in the country. Cape and Ray this year was very successful. We took a completely full trip in the end, with mainly ocean divers, and I think there were 3 or 4 sports divers on the trip in the end. We had some people qualifying on the weekend, which was brilliant to see. Then went to Lake Strip, which was our last trip before everything went into lockdown. As the first weekend that we weren't allowed to travel, just so happened to be the first weekend that we were planning a trip diving in the sea. And then you all know what chaos has ensued since then. However, we have still been doing stuff during that break. We have done DL theory lectures online for some of our dive leader trainees. We also successfully ran twin set and ADP courses last weekend, covering all of the theory elements of them. So as soon as we are released, we can get straight in on doing the dry practical sessions and jumping in the water and learning how not to kill ourselves doing very stupid things. And coming up soon, we're going to have a rec course, which a lot of people have expressed interest in seeing. We'll be running that probably after exams now, towards the middle or the end of June. Luke will tell you more about this in a minute in his report. We've also made great progress towards getting a new hull next year. How financing for that will work is still a bit up in the air with everything that's going on. However, we are hoping that it will be primarily unaffected due to the fact that it's all from donations which have already been made to the university and which have been earmarked specifically for buying equipment like that. So hopefully we shouldn't have too many problems, even though there might be a few more clubs going for it than we expected. And although we haven't actually been able to do them, we had a trip a month planned up until October. A lot of those trips are still currently in place, even though they are beginning to look shakier and shakier as things progress. So hopefully, as soon as we are allowed to, we can jump straight back in where we left off and go diving again. So now I will hand over to Luke, who is going to give you a rundown of the club's finances.
Cool. Hello. I'm just going to give a brief overview of the club's finances. So I'll just go over the incomes and then the outgoings, and then I'll do a broad summary at the end. So our main income this year has come from SU grants and memberships. Unfortunately, this year the SU grant was cut to only 1.5k, which was considerably high in previous years. This hasn't affected the club too much. We're still doing okay. The club did well with memberships this year, as Dan stated. We had a healthy number of novices join the club and a strong number of returning qualified members. In total, the club has raised just under £3,000 from memberships. So that's income. So with outgoings, with the most of the outgoings have gone towards general upkeep this year, and unfortunately with trips they have been cut short. Like a broad trip has been, well, everyone knows the mess around it. So we have tried to break even or make some profit on trips, and that's still been okay. And we haven't been affected by coronavirus in terms of the club's expenditure, luckily. So kit maintenance has totaled to around 2,600 this year, including servicing. We had a lot of servicing done this year. So yeah, trips have broken even or made us some profits. It's all good. So as it stands, the club has raised a total. Well, we have £4,700 in the bank. All things considered, this is okay, especially considering what's happened with coronavirus. We've done really well. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do any fundraising events, which you might have liked to fundraise for the boats for a new hull for FAF. But we are saying that we are still on track for a new hull. So we have saved up against 4,700 for that, and we're aiming to raise 7.5k next year. But we're at the moment, as it stands, like nothing has changed for the fundraising for FAF. So we should be okay. Like nothing's really changed due to the coronavirus as it stands. But hopefully, that it stays like that way. And that's me done.
Okay, thanks, Luke. So now on your original AGM agenda, we said we would be doing some constitutional updates. Because of the way the SU run in being incredibly difficult to communicate with, they told us about 8 days ago that they would like us to use the SU referendum form to do this. So because of that, we are not going to spend too much time on it here and now. All I'm going to say on the subject is that in a couple of weeks' time, you'll get an email saying that the Constitution has gone online. It will be online for at least 2 weeks before voting on whether we're going to accept it or not is opened. We'll then run the SU referendum, and that will determine whether the Constitution or not gets changed. I encourage as many of you as possible to have a look at it when it does come up. Unfortunately, I can't give you any dates right now. That is purely because I don't know them myself from the SU. We've been told there's a little bit of a wait for the referendums because they're quite busy at the moment with all of the other clubs doing very similar things. However, we will update you via email as soon as that has been worked out. So now we're going to go on to the committee nominations and the candidates' little speeches. So first up, I'm going to get Chris to speak. He is currently the only candidate standing for president. So Chris.
Evening, everyone. My name's Chris. I'm second year mechanical engineering student. This is my second year in the club, and for the last year and a bit, I've been one of the kit officers, as well as being one of the people working to make the boats a bit more seaworthy than they currently are. I'm running for president. The club's obviously in an unusual situation at the minute with Corona and so many trips being cancelled. So I want to do my bit and make sure that we've still got a club that's running, doing trips next year, so we can all go out and do the diving we enjoy. I've not got any particularly specific plans outside of the plans already set in place by the outgoing committee in terms of things like the boat hulls and major kit expenditure, but keen to keep pushing things like upgrading the boats, getting them further towards seaworthiness, and developing the talent pool we have within the club, helping encourage people towards becoming instructors and making sure we get good new membership coming in.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So Chris is, as we mentioned, standing for president. There is one small change to the list of people that I sent out as well. I'll mention that before this next one. Max has decided that he will not be running for vice president due to the fact that he has struggled with time commitment issues and doesn't feel that he'll have the time to do the role, as well as a couple of health issues which have cropped up recently. So next person to speak will be Katie, who is running for vice pres. Katie, you're on mute, so no one can see you.
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Katie. I think most of you probably know me already. I've been on the committee this year as the training officer. This year I've decided to go for the vice president because I see it as an overall role, can help out with a bit of everything. I've really enjoyed working as a training officer this year. It's been challenging and time consuming at times, but it's something that I've really enjoyed, working with the instructors and all the new members of the club. I think as a vice president, I'm in a pretty good position to be able to help everyone else on the committee. Having already in previous clubs at universities been a club captain, a vice captain, a treasurer, and now training officer, I'm in a pretty good position to help out where I'm needed. So supporting the president and particularly the incoming training officers as much or as little as they want. So that's me.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Katie. So Katie, since Max has stand down, is the only one running for vice pres. So next up, we're going to have treasurer. So Dan Burton is currently running for treasurer. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a camera on his computer, so you might just see a blank screen, but you will be able to still hear his voice. So I'll hand over to Dan now.
Hello, I'm Dan. I joined the club at the start of the year. I'm currently a second year studying criminology. Some of you may have met me at Cape and Ray. I want to be treasurer as I appreciate all the effort the club has put into helping me. So therefore I want to give back to the club in any way I can. I took an A-level in economics, so hopefully that gives me a decent grasp on the fiscal environment. Briefly, my aim is to continue a smooth operation of everyday financials and make sure this is as efficient and organised as possible. Cheers.
Excellent, thank you, Dan. So Dan is standing to be treasurer, as I just mentioned. So next up will be Eleanor Robinson, who is standing for GenSec.
Hello. Hi, I'm Eleanor. I'm a second year biology student. I joined the club this year. I started with sports diver, so I've not finished it yet, but I'm kind of halfway there. With GenSec, I'd like to make sure meetings are organised and well minuted and help with administration. So getting more people involved, I think, is a good idea. Could help with social media and the welcome fair. It's another good plan, I think. And then I've done a bit of travelling myself, so helping organise trips is something that I'm very open to, like to be interested in. And then just general club help, really. I think, yeah, keeping people informed about what's going on. And I will also bring biscuits to meetings. So I think I should get the job. Yeah, that's me.
Yep, so clearly I've missed out not having a GenSec because I got no biscuits at meetings. So next up you're still on,
Sorry.
turn it off. So next up will be the two candidates standing for training officer. So we do have two positions on committee for training officers. So if no one decides to run them, then they will both be able to take up position on committee. So first up, we're going to have Jemima Walton.
Hello, I'm Jemima. I'm a first year biochemistry student. and I'm going for training officer. The reason why I want to be part of the committee is basically because I think it's just such a fun club to be part of, and I just really want to be involved with it more. More specifically, training officer, I think I would enjoy a role that involves being sociable and also organised, and usually I try to be both of those, so I think it'll be all right. I did have a brief chat to Katie because obviously she was the last training officer, and she was letting me know about the role and what it entails, and also how I would be involved in the Cape and Ray trip organisation, and I think I'd be very happy to do that and be involved with that also. But yeah, mainly I'd really like to be involved because I think it would allow me to also meet lots of other new people at the club that I haven't done so already, and also just keep the organisation of the training in good stead. So yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Jem. So now we're going to hear from Alice Martin, who is running alongside Jem as a training officer. Alice.
I'm Alice. I'm a second year in archaeology. Some of you guys might, some of you might not. I haven't been able to be around very much this current academic year. What can you do? I am a organisational nut, so I think I would be pretty well suited to this. I've done quite a bit of producing for the Nottingham New Theatre, so that's sort of organising all the rooms, just sorting everything out. And I actually kind of enjoy that stuff. So I think I would enjoy the role. I think I'd be good at it. That's my spiel.
Excellent. Thanks, Alice. So just to remind you all, those two are both running for training officer, and we've got 2 positions open for them. So hopefully both can take up positions. Obviously, you'll also have the choice of Ron if you decide that's the route you would like to go down. So next up, we're going to have James, who is running for kit officer.
Hi, I'm James. I'm a first year civil engineering student. I joined the society, really fell in love with diving in the refreshing waters of Cape and Ray last December. And I've noticed that a lot of work goes in behind the scenes to make sure everything runs smoothly-ish. And I'd like to get a bit more involved, give it back to the club and help. So that's why I'm running for kit officer, so that when we can go back to diving, ensuring all the kits there are ready, safe to use, so no one else has to stress about it too much, hopefully. And I know there's a lot of choice for this position. I'm sure Ron's got a great spiel, but I'd really appreciate your vote.
Excellent. Thanks, James. So James is going for kit. Moving on, we're going to now hear from Ben, who is this year's kit officer, or one of them, and is running for boats next year. So Ben.
Hello. Yeah, as Dan says, I was kit officer of the year. I spent quite a lot of time over winter along with Ross and Chris sorting the boats out, with our deadline being Easter trip, and then obviously lockdown happened, so all the work is on hold now, and we'll not be able to see if our boats float. So I'd like a chance to carry on maintaining the boats and looking after them for another year as well, and hopefully get them on the water. And that's me.
Excellent, thanks, Ben. So Ben is running for boat officer. So we're going to move on now to social secretaries. So we have got 2 people running for social sec this year, going back to how it was in my first year. So first up is Pete Hartman. So Pete.
Hello? Yeah,
Turn your video on.
one sec. There you go. Hi. I'm Pete Hartman. I'm a first year biotech student, and I'm running for social sec because I really like the community which the club provides, and I really want to be more in the centrefold for that, bringing people together. I've got a reasonable tolerance, so I can take part in all the games, drinking wise, and still keep everything organised during the night. And I like the chance to do other things other than just going out clubbing to Ocean. So I'm planning on I want to be able to do like more sophisticated things, sometimes which don't involve drinking. And that's about it, really.
Excellent. Thanks, Pete. So the next person running for social sec is Ella.
Hiya, so I'm applying to be Pete's elderly assistant. I'd say I'm less of the party person, but I'm still generally quite involved in the club. I like a good pub crawl, and I've been promising that for a while, so I thought I'd like to finally get around to doing that at the end of lockdown. And as well, I'm quite keen to do non-drinking socials, so I do quite a good pizza party, I've been told. I also like baking and things like that, and I'm quite keen to do some non-drinking socials or sort of less drinking focused socials to keep things inclusive, because I know we did start with them at the beginning of last year. So yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Ella. So those are the two candidates running for social sec. Again, there are two positions for that, so your choice is between those two and Ron. I believe Ron is quite convincing, but fingers crossed we'll have two social secs in post for next year. So now we are moving on to the last committee position, which is welfare officer. So I'll pass over now to Alexia.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Alexia. I'm a second year classics student, and I've been in the club for 2 years. I'm currently doing my sports diver, but obviously everything has gone wrong. I'd really like to do this because I just think I'd be really good at it. I think I bring some good ideas to the committee, and I'd really like to improve the relations between different areas of the club, so the oldies and the newbies, and hopefully get a higher rate of retention for the new people. I'd also quite like to focus on mental health, which is just so crucial in a sport like this. We all really need to trust each other and feel comfortable with each other, and I've been told I'm really good at talking to people and listening, so I think I'd be pretty great in the role. I'm happy to help anyone with any issues in or outside of the club, so that'd be really great if you vote for me. So yeah, thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, Lex. So that is the end of the candidates who are running for position. Hopefully they've all done enough to convince you that they deserve a vote over Ron. For those of you that don't know, I just realised that I haven't actually mentioned who Ron is. Ron is reopen nominations. So if you don't believe that any of the candidates you just saw are capable of the position they're running for on committee, that is your option. If you choose to vote for that one, then the position will be re-elected either in an EGM which will be held shortly, or more likely in September. So I have just now opened up the committee elections form. You should all have the link to that from the email you have received with your personal verification code. Make sure that you put your code in when you are when you're filling out the form. If the code doesn't match any of the ones that have been sent out, then unfortunately your vote will not count. So you now have half an hour to log on to that form and cast your votes. Before voting closes, I'll count up the votes and send out the results. For those of you that are not a bit out of the know on how the system is working, Tom has sent out all the codes. I have not seen them. So even though I will see the codes and who has voted for which person, I do not know who has actually lodged the form. So yeah, so if you'd like to start casting your votes, please head over to that now, and then we'll start wrapping up. I should note, if anyone has any questions on the thing, then to put them down on the stream. So Helen's asked what the latest is with the SU and trips. So the latest from our end on that is they're being bloody useless. We have been told that trips up until the week before summer trip have been cancelled. Oh, bugger, I just realised I've forgotten DO. Right, apologies, everybody. So we also need to vote in DO, which is the only candidate standing for it is Davs. So Davs, would you like to speak quickly?
Yep, absolutely. Hi guys, yeah, I'm Davs. So I've been DO for the last 3 years, I think it is. Happy to carry on in the role. So if you don't know, DO is the role that basically worries about the safety of divers and the trips that we're going on, and making sure that we're all doing stuff in accordance with the BSAC guidelines. So I've been doing it for a little while. I'm happy to carry on with that role. Personal goals, I'd like to make sure that we're doing more of the SDCs. So I'll be working with the training officers for that. And a personal goal is that I will finish my advanced dive for everybody. I'm sorry, I will do it. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks, Davs. So, Chris has just pointed out that Davs is not actually on the voting form, which is why I forgot to mention him in the thing, because I was running down the list of people on that. If you give me 30 seconds, I can add him very quickly. Okay, that has been added on there now. For those of you that have back onto the link, put in your code again on the form and vote for who you would like. You can fill out the entire form again if you want to. I'll only count the one vote for each one. If you just want to fill out the one for diving officer, then that is also fine. Exactly the same link, exactly the same code. We can make that work. So go back to answering the questions that have been posted on the link. So with regards to trips and the SU, so far they have closed all trips until the week before our summer trip. That has not yet been extended to cover summer trip. Those that are on summer trip will have an email very shortly explaining what is the most likely course of action for that. But as of right now, then that's the current position. Davs is also going to give you a bit of an update, I think, from the DO side of things. So, Davs.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so in addition to the Students' Union responses about whether we can go diving or not, we also have the BSAC response and the British Diving Safety Group response, which at the moment, following the update from the government recently, there is still a blanket, please do not go diving at this current time. And so that is the stance that we are following as a branch as well. And so any dive that would have been a branch dive will not be going ahead until that has changed, even if the SU say we're allowed to go diving. But BSAC say we can't and the BDSG say that we can't, we will not be going diving. But yeah, happy to talk about that offline with anybody as well if they want to contact me. It's do@uonsubaqua.com. You're on mute.
Sorry, everyone. So, as everyone can imagine, for the foreseeable future, it is unlikely that we will be able to go diving. Hopefully, as things start opening up again, the advice and guidance and that will change, and we will be able to get in the water towards the end of the summer. However, as everyone else knows, you all know as much as the committee does on that at the moment, but we will keep you all as informed as we can do as we get updates. If anyone has any questions for the candidates as well, then please feel free to ask them in the chat. So we've got one from Peter going towards the training officers. So Jem and Alice. So Peter has said, apart from the core ocean diver, sports diver, and diver training program, what sort of courses would you guys like to see being run next year outside of those, if there's any you've got in mind?
As someone who's doing archaeology, and I understand this may not appeal to everyone, but I know that a couple of months ago, BZAC were talking about trialing a marine, a sort of archaeology diving course, and possibly trialing it with us. Oh no, I see a weird smile. Has something happened with that? I don't know. Maybe something's changed. Oh God, what's happened? Dan's gone. Technology.
We are still live.
We are still live. Okay, thank you. So that was something that really interested me at the time. I would be really interested in following that through and seeing if that's something we could start putting into action. Other courses, well, I think it would be really interesting actually to do to see what BZAC has on offer, to do a survey, see what members are interested in, and see if we can match the two together, see if there's something that our members are interested in that we're not already offering, and see if we can get that going.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I hadn't had any thoughts so far, but I think the same thing, that if any of the members wanted a specific course that we could try and offer them, that would be the best way forward to sort that out.
Excellent, thanks guys. Apologies, I seem to have had a few techie issues myself, and I've lost all of the questions, so give me 30. You haven't. Have we had any more then, Tom?
Yes, we have a question, I believe, for the training officer again. It says, question for option 1, what are your policies?
I think that's Will being sarcastic, because there's an option 1 on the form which shouldn't be there, so ignore that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's Will just being nitpicky.
And then another question for the treasurer. What is your opinion on running fundraising events to supplement our income?
So I've run a few fundraisers for charities in the past. It's definitely an option. With lockdown, it probably won't be possible for a while, but yeah, I can definitely see it being a thing. Yeah, cheers.
Okay, are there any more questions to be directed towards any of the candidates before we go on to the end of the meeting? Ben, Ross would like to know whether you will wiggle the boat steering.
Yeah, I will. Well, not at the moment because I can't actually get into the boat. But will, yes, I promise to wiggle the boat steering. Repeatedly.
Only once or twice, Ben, or every now and again? Or constantly? You're going to stand there wiggling away?
At least once a month.
At least once a month.
There we
go.
Every weekend.
Okay, so we're now going to going to continue with the last bits of the AGM. Well, I'm sure he'll be as vigorous as possible when he's wiggling the steering. And if anyone does have any other questions to direct towards them, then feel free to continue to use the chat, and I will pause and ask them the questions. Moving on now, as some of you will be aware, we have been running a pub quiz every week. Words that I never, ever, ever thought I would say are congratulations to Will, Ed, James, and Jodie for winning that round with their team Spaceballs. The quiz will be starting again from next Monday, with teams being changed up again, because for some strange reason those 4 were just an ideal combination and nobody else had a chance. We suspect that it was because They won the quiz on a fluke once and then wrote the quiz for each other because the winning team loses a member and then writes the quiz themselves. So there was a lot of Will writing questions for James and James writing questions for Will, which just I suspect helped a little bit. So anyone is welcome to join us on that quiz. It is written by somebody else, somebody new every single week. Peter is in charge of the organisational side of it, being incredibly good at an incredibly good quiz master himself. So if you have any questions about the quiz, want to join in, then either shoot us a message on the Facebook page or speak to Peter, and he will be happy to help you get involved with that. So I'm coming towards the end now, and I would like to say thank you to my entire committee from this year. You guys have been absolutely fabulous. Tom is making some faces at me on our stream, and I can't figure out what he's trying to say. Now he's shaking his head at me. I think I'm being an idiot.
We have lost video, so we're going to have a very quick changeover, and we'll be back with you in about 30 seconds' time.
What's happened, Tom?
We have lost video.
No, it was fine for me. I've still got it on the laptop.
Yeah, I've still got it. I can see you on the stream.
Yeah, it's working for me.
Oh, it's gone now. I can see Davs.
Might just be you, Tom. But if we're wrapping up anyway, Dan, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's working okay. So continue on that. I'd like to thank everyone on committee. Everyone has done a fantastic job this year. As I'm sure you'll know, Ben, Chris have spent an amazing amount of time on the boats. Ross has been very helpful on that as well. So even though he's not on committee, he deserves a lot of thanks for the effort he's put into that. Katie has been fantastic arranging the core training for the ocean divers and sports divers. I've had a lot of people say how brilliant that has run this year. So a massive thank you to her for that. And of course to Lorna, who's been brilliant help running the club, and has been very helpful to me as vice pres. I think Dabs would also like to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Ed as well, who's been helping out with DO duties, especially while I was away for an extended period. So just thank you, Ed.
Excellent. So yeah, you guys have all been brilliant this year, and it has been great fun to run the committee with you. As I'm sure you all know that I am going to be graduating this year. Unfortunately, my gap year plans have gone out the window with COVID, so you'll not all be getting rid of me that easily. I'll still be around to teach and to go on trips, of course, and obviously being down the pub. So finally, I would like to thank Tom for all of his help in setting up this AGM. It would not have been possible without him. He has been the tech mastermind behind everything here, and has done a fantastic job in doing that. So I think that brings us to the end. You've got 15 minutes to get outside and start clapping for the NHS. And hopefully we'll see you all diving again soon. Keep an eye out for the results of the elections. And yeah, see you all soon. Thanks for a great year, guys.
Thank you, Dan. You've been a great president.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Okay, so if you are still watching for some reason whatsoever, that I don't know, maybe you just got nothing better to do on a Thursday evening when we're all stuck inside, we have got the results for you. So in the first round of counting, well, for all of these actually, none of them will have to go any further rounds of counting. So for President Chris Eason, there were 28 responses to the voting. 28 voted for Chris Eason for President, and none voted for Ron. So Ron is eliminated, and Chris is elected as President. For Vice President, Katie Eminson was given 28 votes. Ron was given no votes, so Ron is eliminated, and Katie is elected as Vice President. For Treasurer, Dan Burton received 28 votes. Ron received no votes, and therefore Ron is eliminated, and Dan is Treasurer. For GenSec, Eleanor Robinson received 28 votes. Ron received no votes, and Ron is eliminated, so Eleanor is elected as GenSec. For Training Officer, there are 2 positions. Jemima received 28 votes. Alice received 27 votes, and Ron received 1 vote. Therefore, Ron is eliminated, and Alice and Jemima are elected as training officers. For Kit Officer, James got 28 votes. Ron got no votes. Therefore, Ron is eliminated, and James is elected as Kit Officer. For Boat Officer, Ben Prestwich got 27 votes. Ron got 1 vote. Therefore, Ron is eliminated, and Ben is elected as Boat Officer. For Social Sec, there were Pete got 28 votes. Ella also got 28 votes. Ron received no votes, so Ron is eliminated, and Pete and Ella are elected as Social Secretaries. For Welfare Officer, Alexia got 27 votes. Ron got 1 vote. Therefore, Ron is eliminated, and Alexia is elected as Welfare Officer. For Diving Officer, 23 votes were cast. Davs Brander received 21 votes. Ron received 2 votes. Therefore, Ron is eliminated, and Davs is elected as Training Officer. So that will be your committee for next year. And if you are still watching this because you had nothing better to do and forgot to change away from the screen, and I just randomly interrupted you for no apparent reason, then there are your results. They will all be emailed out in about however long it takes me to write an email, which knowing the speed by I just counted those at will be another half an hour or so. So that's that, and see you all at some point in the near future. Goodbye.